What I have right here is Samsung's brand new Galaxy S23 Plus, not the extremely hyped S23 Ultra, which by the way is an amazing device, but this is definitely the go-to device for a lot of people because it's not too big, it's not too small, it's not so expensive as well, it's just right. Strangely enough, out of all the devices that were launched by Samsung, I was most eager to get my hands on this device, and in this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts on it. So let's get right into the video.
I ran up a check, I might do it again.
Unlike the S23 Ultra, which may look the same as the S22 Ultra from last year, the S23 and S23 Plus have a striking new overlook as compared to the previous generation of devices. In my opinion, I think this is a change in the right direction, considering Samsung has implemented a floating camera design to match that of the Ultra. You're now getting devices that match each other to some point. This time around, you're getting colors that cut across all devices, so no matter which device you get, you're getting the same color options available. So there are 4 colors: the Phantom Black, Green, Cream, as well as the Lavender color I have right here, and honestly, it looks amazing. I also like how little the cameras stick out as compared to similar devices with such camera layouts. iPhone 14. In my opinion, this is still one of the most beautiful devices you can get today. Looking at how the bezels are symmetric and thin, and the overall form factor feels compact even for a 6.6-inch display. My hands are quite big, so one-hand usage on this device isn't really an issue for me, but if you have smaller hands, you feel more comfortable with the S23. I would have liked the S23 Plus to have a QHD display like the S23 Ultra, but I'm still stuck with an FHD Plus display, which isn't bad at all, but at least we deserve the QHD display as an upgrade. As a battery-saving technology, the screen refreshes between 48Hz and 120Hz depending on what you're using your device for. Having it go all the way down to 1Hz would have been super impressive, but that's unfortunately reserved for only the Ultra. The front-facing camera is small enough on the display and doesn't cause any problems for me, as it still looks seamlessly integrated and positioned. There's also an under-display ultrasonic fingerprint reader, which is still the fastest on any device I have tested. At least Samsung is being consistent with their biometric security features. I have also noticed there's an additional microphone at the bottom of the device, so there are 3 microphones, 2 at the bottom and 1 on top, to make your audio recordings and calls pick up your voice even from a distance. For more protection against accidental drops, all the S23 devices come with the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on both the screen as well as the back glass. It still maintains the same scratch resistance from the previous generation, whilst increasing the drop resistance when your phone drops on rough surfaces. I'm definitely not going to test this out, but according to tests carried out by the manufacturers, it was able to sustain drops of up to 1 meter, that's about 3.28 feet on rough surfaces. So there are some people out there with the opinion that these are the same devices as last year's S22 lineup with just a few cosmetic changes. Well, that's completely wrong, and using this device, you'd experience the importance of a new and improved SoC. An improved and powerful SoC touches every area of the device, from image processing, speed, animation, sound, Wi-Fi, mobile data, and even to an extent how you view content. And in case you should know, none of these devices come with the Exynos chipset anymore. Every device comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset, even more specialized for the S23 devices. Hence, it is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy, which brings really impressive improvements in battery efficiency, improved Wi-Fi connectivity ranges, more fluid animations, and many more. It also has a jump in performance of about 34% in CPU and 41% in GPU. Using it side by side the S22 Plus, the performance jump is as clear as day. Loading times, stuttering, all things that looked and felt slow on the S22 Plus are practically non-existent on this device. It runs super smooth, animations are fluid, and you definitely appreciate the improvements. The S23 Plus runs One UI 5.1 out of the box, which brings performance improvements to compatible devices. For the base S23 Plus, we are getting an improved and newer UFS 4.0 256GB storage option with a read speed of 1.3 GB per second and write speed of 1.8 GB per second, which is a huge improvement. You may not see the benefits in everyday usage, but comparing it even against the base S23 with 128GB 3.1 UFS storage, the advantage is obvious. It also has 8GB RAM, which is similar to its predecessor, the Galaxy S22 Plus. You'd however notice an improvement when running power-consuming tasks like gaming or editing and exporting videos. If you are concerned about software longevity, Samsung is still the leading Android manufacturer in this category, offering 4 years of software updates and 5 years of security updates, so you should be getting up to Android 17, which is impressive, especially for an Android device. For the battery, there are some slight changes on paper which actually translate into real-life improvements. There's a 200 mAh increment to last year's 4500 mAh battery, which has brought a huge improvement in battery life for the S23 Plus's 4700 mAh battery. During my usage, I've been able to clock a 24-hour day on a single charge, entering somewhere around 9 AM the next day with 14% battery life left, which is truly impressive. On my S22 Plus, I usually have a low battery 6 to 7 hours after a full charge, which was understandable considering the task I carry out on my device. But switching over to the S23 Plus, Samsung has definitely done something impressive in terms of the battery life. We still get 45 watt wire charging like before. That's about 65% charge from zero in about 30 minutes, 15 watt wireless charging, and 4.5 watt reverse wireless charging. So now let's talk about the cameras. Just like last year, we have 3 rear cameras: the 12 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide, 50 megapixel f1.8 main camera, and the 10 megapixel f2.4 telephoto lens, as well as the 12 megapixel front facing camera. Shooting from any of these lenses at their given focal lengths look incredible. It's not something you've not seen before in phones like the S22 Plus. There, however, are some slight changes in the S23 Plus when comparing cameras against the S22 Plus. You're getting more detail and sharpness, as well as a bit more contrast, saturation, and brightness. There's also improvement in low light shots, where pictures come out more contrasty and bright compared to low light shots on the S22 Plus. I'm also glad we can finally record videos at 8K 30fps. On the S22 series, it was capped at 8K 24fps, with quite a large crop and not so great dynamic range. But on the S23 Plus, there's less of a crop as well as improved dynamic range. There's also a new feature when recording videos called 360 audio recording that allows you to capture 3D immersive sound and play it through your Bluetooth headphones. Before I forget, the price still remains the same as last year's S22 Plus, with a price tag of $999, which is impressive because we've seen a lot of inflation in the past year and you'd expect it to be slightly higher, but it still remains the same. So good job, Samsung. I've been a huge fan of the Galaxy S series since the S2, and I've had various forms of devices within the S series, phones a lot of people probably never knew existed. I believe it's within this admiration for the brand I can say things have gotten way better. The Galaxy S23 Plus is not the perfect device. There's no perfect device, but it will check so many boxes in what you're looking for in a smartphone. It has great cameras, an awesome screen, software longevity, a powerful processor, battery life that can clearly last you a day and more, the perfect size in my opinion, and somewhat priced moderately amongst devices in similar price ranges. You're getting a beauty and a beast in one compact device. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button to join this growing community and leave a thumbs up on this video. I'll be posting a camera comparison video between this device and the Galaxy S22 Plus, so if you're interested in that, be on the lookout for when that video drops. I'm Desi and thanks for watching. I'll catch you in my next video. Peace.